Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Sirach Lofton.
Hello,
We are
hello.
also joined by a very special guest, Melissa Longo, as well as Randy Frank today of Lambda Quadrant. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Awesome. So today we are talking about Lambda Quadrant and all of the things that it has to do with Star Trek and the LGBTQ community and all of that, I guess. So
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's just start with, how are you today, Randy?
I'm great. Thank you. We're in the middle of all of this, but I'm doing well, just trying to stay connected to people. This is helping. It's great. So all good.
Yeah. And Melissa's here with us, of course. You guys have known each other for a while. You guys want to walk us through your friendship?
Well, it started at the cons because I've been doing this in some form or fashion for several years now, right? So it started, we met at the conventions, and it's just been several years of seeing each other constantly at conventions and then starting up and doing other stuff as well. So
yeah. What year was that? Do you guys remember when you first met?
Oh gosh, what year was that? I don't
remember.
Like what?
Back in the day.
It was probably the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, whatever year that was.
Yeah.
I think it was that year.
3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
what's up with that shirt that you got on, Melissa? I wanted a little close-up action.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's see. It's actually Aaron's signature that I took from a picture that he signed, and he would put that on all of his photos that he would sign at conventions. So I took it, I photoshopped it off, I painted it onto a screen and created a screen, and then so that I could carry him around wherever I go.
Now, what about if somebody else saw this and was like, dude, I totally want something like that? What would you say to that?
Well, I think we can make that happen. I think we can make that happen. And there's time to put something together since we're at home.
Now is the time for sure.
Yeah. So something will pop up online soon. So
stay tuned for that. And
I think that's a really great idea, though. Yeah,
that
I'm
is
sorry to
really
interrupt you guys. Yeah, I like the idea. I like the slogan that you chose, or the quote that he puts on all these pictures.
Yeah, I thought it was appropriate because he really lived that. Follow your dreams. So I thought that's a good thing to carry around, and good way to remember Aaron is because that's the way he lived, is following his dreams, and he wanted that for everyone else too. So
yeah.
We're definitely going to be following that. Keep us posted on when we should talk about it a little bit more.
Will do.
Seems like it's very close.
Very close.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, Randy,
yes,
can
sir.
You kind of walk us through where you got the idea to start Lambda Quadrant and what it stands for. Tell us everything, since we don't know much.
Everything. So, I mean, I've been doing the same thing with different groups for several years now. Like I said, that's where we met Melissa and Aaron. So I've been doing the same thing with different groups for a while now. And I sort of broke off on my own, and I was like, I'm having so much fun doing this, and I just sort of wanted to restructure what was going on with it. So I started my own thing, pulled in some people, found some new people. But basically, I mean, what we want to do is just, our big thing is having fun, but raising money for charity while we do it. Through the course of what we've been doing, we found out that people are so generous if you just let them be. It's been just crazy, like overwhelmingly crazy with how generous and amazing people have been. So we give people a safe space where they feel safe and wonderful. It's LGBT friendly, but not exclusive. Obviously, we want everyone to be there. So we have people from all walks of life that come out and help us, or just talk to us, or whatever it is. And a lot of them I've known just from walking around the conventions for the last several years and talking to everyone. And people have been so wonderful that I didn't want to stop with where I left off before. I wanted to just keep going and making it bigger and better. So that's why we sort of started this new one, where now we're doing even more things, and we hit our $2,000 for charity mark, which was after about like 5 or 6 weeks of doing this. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. People have been so generous and amazing and wonderful. So it's pulling people together, letting people have a good time, but always for a good cause. And it sort of makes a double happy, right? Because then people are there having fun, but then they're also raising money. That makes them feel good. If they can't give any money, that's okay too. They're still there out supporting. And we always have someone from the charity that we're supporting at one of our get-togethers. So they see how generous and amazing people are. So it's just sort of this like snowball of good, happy Star Trek people. It's great.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have started with this question. Now that I think about it, I should have rewound a little bit more and said, hey, tell us about your Star Trek fandom. Like, when did you start getting into it? What's your favorite series, and why is it Deep Space Nine?
It's Deep Space Nine because
That's a leading
question.
Objection. Leading question, Your Honor.
I thought I read that somewhere.
Oh, okay.
It's fair. It's fair. I grew up on Star Trek like almost everyone did. So growing up, TNG was the one that I watched. I have seen all of them. I have seen every episode of all of them. However, that's just the one that I watched growing up. So that's the one that I go to when I'm going to bed at night and watching. I love DS9. I love you, Nana. I love you, Nicole. I absolutely love the show as well, but that's just the one that I grew up on, so it's my go-to. But I just started the same as everybody else, just watching when I was a kid. I'm a big nerd. I've always been a big nerd, and it was just one part of my big nerddom. But Star Trek fans are so amazing and wonderful and giving and loving and smart and amazing that I'm happy to keep working with them. And the actors, like, oh my gosh, they have just been overwhelming and amazing too. So it's a really good space and a really good group of people to be in. So I'm not sad at all that I started as a kid watching Star Trek. So I'm proud.
You find that the Star Trek actors are supporting your cause?
Yes,
Powerfully.
like across the board, just wonderful for anything that they can do and more than we would expect them to do. They've all been amazing and wonderful. So anyone who wonders how amazing those people are, I'll tell you the same way anyone else ever does. Like, they are exactly who you hope they are. So,
what was the inspiration to come up with this Lambda organization?
As you know, there have been no LGBT characters in Star Trek for the first 50 years of Star Trek. So that's initially how we started, like, not this organization, but the whole movement was that, why have there been no gay characters in Star Trek for all this time? We've come further since then, because when we started, there were none. Now we have Discovery, and we actually have people. So it just started just for awareness. Like, we realized we would go to conventions and not see any LGBT representation there at all, like nothing. There's zero. And I'm like, I know there are LGBT fans. Like, where are they congregating? What are they? And the answer was just nothing. And they basically kept quiet, right?
There are a lot of fans. It's true. They're there for sure now.
They are there. Like, they're definitely out there, but they were just quiet. I think, at least for me, my feeling that I've gotten talking to a lot of them was they just didn't necessarily feel safe bringing up things like that in the huge open environment that is at a convention, right? Mm-hmm. Especially like standing up and asking actors questions in a big room of 500 people. They didn't feel comfortable asking an LGBT related question, even though it may have been relevant. They never felt comfortable. So that's where we started, sort of like, let's build this place where people can come and talk about it and feel safe, and like, straight, gay, doesn't matter. Like, everyone comes together to, feel safe, but then they can also talk about those little niche things that maybe they wouldn't get to talk about other places. And it just brings a new level of excitement and Star Trek to them, where they would never be able to ask those questions of other fans or the actors before. Now they can. So we started there, and then we added the charity piece on top of it, because hell, why not, right? There are people out there who need our help, and we can either, buy another tchotchke or give it to somebody who needs it. And we found that if you let people, they will give it to somebody who needs it.
That's awesome.
Now, I couldn't help but have my ears perk up when you said that there was no LGBTQ characters for the first 50 years. And I feel like there's some nerds right now watching this going, actually, Commander Riker fell in love with an androgynous and person, and Jadzia Dax made out with another. So,
right.
and we all know about those. And my question to you is, would you consider those kinds of characters part of the LGBTQ community, or are they just kind of opening up that conversation and dipping their toes in the pool just to kind of touch on it without really diving in fully?
Um, I wouldn't consider it a full, go for the gusto as far as the writers and everyone is concerned. I know that they tried, and I know that they were, metaphors, and they were trying to get the message out the best way they could. I also know that Roddenberry really wanted to have a gay character on the shows at some point, and like he just constantly was getting shut down by the networks, which I get. Like, it was the time, whatever. It is what it is. It was what it was. I'm glad that we have those things, but it was always either, like I said, it was a metaphor. It wasn't like it's an alien, so you can't say these two like men or women were together. It was an alien, so it's kind of like, people watching give it a pass because it was an alien. They don't think, oh, it's two regular men or two regular women or like a trans person. It's an alien, right? So it's super easy just to sort of brush over it when it's an alien. And then the other thing is when you do it in the mirror universe, where you have somebody like making out with somebody in the mirror universe, it's always bad, right? It's like these are evil people in the mirror universe. Like poor Nicole,
That's a good point. Yeah.
DeBoer, she's in the bad universe, and that's where ladies can kiss. It's like, come on, like
that's where they're really naughty.
Right, that's where the naughty people live, is in the bad universe. Like, we want a little bit more positive representation. While I am thankful for that, and then obviously the whole like Trill thing, where you were a man or a woman in your past life, they can always glaze over it by saying, oh, well, it's not now. Like, now she's totally straight. It's not, so it's the man part of her that was kissing the woman. So it was very easy to just like explain it away and not have it be actual, people that were characters. So that's why I don't technically count it, even though I am thankful that that part of it is out there.
Are you satisfied with the characters that they have created now and the representation that's out there?
Exactly.
So much better. So much better. Discovery, like I don't know what other people think about it, but at least for me and the people that I've talked to, like we call it the toothbrush scene in Discovery, where the two guys are just there doing nothing but just like brushing their teeth, but that they're together and they don't make a big thing about it and they don't talk about it. No one brings it up. No one's like pointing at them down the hallway. It's just like two people together, and that's how it should have been the whole time. If it's not a thing, it's not a thing. It should just be there. So I was super thankful for the creators of and the writers and everyone of Discovery to bring us that sort of slice in the life of a normal looking gay couple. So I'm super thankful for how much they've done for us, and I can't wait to see what else they do with everything else. So
right. I've a lot of people say that Discovery is very different from the Star Trek that they're used to.
Sure.
And the truth is, it is in a lot of ways. But Discovery has some scenes that are extremely Star Trek in it, and most of them have to do with Stamets and or Culber. I've noticed the most Star Trek scenes, in my opinion, that was one that you mentioned. For me, the most Star Trek scene I've seen in any of Discovery, both seasons, was when Jet Reno comes in with the hangnail to talk with Culber, and it's all subtext, it's all metaphor. It was like, I was just like, this is more Star Trek than almost anything ever. And there have been a few of those. Also, like when Saru kind of lets Ash Tyler and I think it was Culber kind of, duke it out a little bit in the mess hall, it wasn't as the Star Trek that we usually know, but there was so much subtext in that scene too, So anyway, right. I think you're right that they're getting it right with those guys. At least from an outsider's point of view, just watching it as a fan, they're getting those guys right.
Yeah, and they don't. Like, I don't want them to make a big thing about it. I don't want it to like them to have to take a stand. It's just two random people on the ship, and they happen to be gay and they happen to be together, and they're doing their thing in like science and medicine, and like it's great. Like that's all that I think anyone could ever ask for, is just have it be. We know that it's there, but it's not a big deal.
It's part of everyday life. It's not.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you love who you love, and that's who you're with.
Right. And it just
every day.
We did get super mad though when they I mean, we can spoiler alert because the season's been over for a while, right? when one of them died, we were like, "Don't just kill the gay character." But it's fine. It's fine now. What happened, and everything is fine now. But I was definitely a little worried. I was like, "Don't do that to us. That's really not fair."
Did you
But
hear that?
That's how we feel in the black community.
Yeah,
when the black
Dr.
guy
Rock's like,
gets
welcome to
in the
our
first
Like,
episode.
it's like, no, just kill
It's not
it. What are you
us,
doing?
man.
Yeah.
Not the first
Come on.
episode. Come on, it's the first episode, dog.
I know. Yeah. It's like a horror movie. It's like a horror movie. It's like, I know.
Come on, Picard. Look
I was going to say,
somebody
good
else.
thing that's over in Picard, right?
Yeah, well, no, but
No.
that's the same fear we have. It's like, oh man, we know what's coming. So yeah, I know exactly what you feel, and it is important to have just people be able to see people that represent them, and that's what Star Trek has been really good at, is having people that people can identify with and say, okay, that's somebody that's like me, that, you know, whether you sometimes even the aliens, but just because of their personalities. And, you know, so I do think that it was important. And they asked me about this in an interview years ago, and I said that it would happen. So I did predict that there would be, you know, an openly gay character on Star Trek, even though, as Ryan points out, there's been different instances in which they've approached this topic and, you know, and try to introduce it to the public, but it hasn't been open, and it hasn't been comfortable, and not an issue as opposed to an issue.
Exactly. Yeah. Just not even anything at all. Just not a thing. Yeah. We haven't had that. Yeah. And obviously the fact that we have to talk about it means that it's a thing still, right? Like, if it weren't a thing, no one would even be talking about the fact that they're as a gay couple on Star Trek. But clearly, like, people have spoken out and said that they don't like that, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's still something that we have to talk about. Until it's not a thing, we have to make it a thing, sadly. So
yeah,
you know, I had heard that they weren't planning on bringing Culber back, that they were planning on having him die in whatever it was, episode 10 or 11, and that's it. You know, like, characters die, whatever, like Arium. And then it was the outcry that brought him back, which is you know, diehard Discovery fans, cover your ears right now, which is why the way they brought Culber back was just so stupid to me. The science, I mean, I know. But I was so happy they brought him back, because Culber's definitely top 2 or 3 favorite characters for me personally.
Yes.
And I was surprised when they killed him. I was like, oh, you guys.
I know, right? Like, it's like,
I mean,
and the actor who plays him, what's his name?
Wilson Cruz.
What a nice guy. Really,
What a cool guy.
really friendly guy. I know Melissa and I have spent time with him, and I'm sure you guys have as well. But he's a really cool guy. Really got a good personality, and somebody that's very likable.
Definitely. Both of them. Anthony is too. I had both of them in my car at the same time a couple of years ago at STLV, and I was like, if anything happens to me, the Star Trek community is going to come after me.
Yeah,
I was driving so carefully. I was like going 2 miles an hour in Las Vegas. I was like, oh my god. But both incredibly amazing and sweet. Yes.
What's the name Lambda referring to? I know it's like this has a Greek origin, but what,
it is.
What
it's
was
the Greek. It's the Greek letter, but it became the symbol of gay rights in the Stonewall riots in New York. And so I pulled that. Yeah, of course. A lot of people, I guess, people like that know their gay history would know that. Not everyone would, but it became the, like, you know, the symbol of gay rights then, and obviously Lambda referring. Since we have Greek letters for the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta Quadrant, I was like, why shouldn't the Lambda Quadrant be where the gay people are? So that's where that came from.
There it is.
See?
Hey, okay.
What is that, like the 10th letter, or what is that?
I know it's far down, right? They're actually a quadrant is only 4, but you know, we have to give ourselves a little artistic liberty for the.
No, I like that. The Lambda Quadrant. It's great.
Yeah. And Melissa, he was saying that you met Wilson and Anthony too.
Yeah, at one of the events he was talking about in Las Vegas, and both of them were wonderful. I was with Aaron at the time, and both of them were wonderful.
Actually, the day that Aaron saved my life from that bus, we were all backstage
we haven't
together.
heard that story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That day, and it was in Birmingham or something.
Yeah.
Alabama or in the UK?
In the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know if they're going to have any LGBT.
I'm from the South, so I was like, Birmingham.
In the UK,
yeah, they're Birmingham. So yeah, no, and so we got a chance to hang out with Anthony and Wilson backstage.
Yeah.
And as we were leaving, hanging out with them and wrapping up for the day, that's when we left out of the back door.
Yeah.
And the whole bus thing.
So you're saying you were wrapping up and then you cruised out.
And I cruised out. Yes. Yes.
All right.
And then I almost got hit by a Tim bus.
Yeah.
No, that was a bad one. Sorry.
Oh, a Tim bus. What a bus.
Yeah. So that was a bus.
No, that was great. I loved it.
So
Obviously, I loved it.
that was it. But yeah, so I really think that they're good people, very fun to be around, have good personalities, and a good spokesperson for the for that role as well.
Absolutely. We couldn't have asked for a couple of nicer guys to be out there doing that, and like people that are actually gay in real life too. That comes up, and it's a bone of contention for people, but I am personally glad that they chose to do that for us, just because as someone who's tried to work as an actor in Hollywood as a gay person, it's not easy. And for them to hire straight people to pretend they're gay and then say that straight actors are quote unquote brave is a thing that we deal with as well. It's like, why is that
We've
brave?
heard that stuff before.
I don't know what that means. So I am thankful to the casting people at Discovery to actually have cast gay men in gay roles as well.
Do you think that they specifically say only casting gay men for this role, like when they're doing out the casting call? I feel like they must, because I mean, if that's what they're looking for, then they're not going to want to waste the time of other people that aren't.
Have you seen the breakdowns for TV shows before? They're terrible.
Yes. That's why
I've never seen it say gay. Like they use weird code words to mean other things, like ethnic, or like they use weird words for as code for whatever. I don't know what the one that they use for gay is. I think it's like
flamboyant.
Light. Yeah, flamboyant. That's one. Yeah. They won't say like be gay because that's discriminatory or whatever. So they have to be like, what up? So the breakdowns are weird. I don't know how the casting went for Discovery, if they pulled people in. I don't know. But I would imagine that like the breakdown that first came out didn't say gay. It probably just said, flamboyant or whatever the word is that they use. But it's strange. Yeah. I mean, I had an agent who was gay and knew I was gay and would send me out to auditions and was like, don't act gay. I was like, what? I was like, what does that mean? Like, I was like, but I mean, I'm not gonna like, what does that matter though? Like, however, he's like, and then he would also tell me, if you're going out to an audition for a male casting director, wear tight jeans. I was like, okay, but you told me not to act gay. I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. So it's a weird people don't have no idea how weird it is.
Strange term, because how does anyone act gay? I mean, unless I told you I was bisexual, nobody would know I'm bisexual.
Right. I'm not gonna walk up to the male casting director and start making out with him for no reason. Like,
right.
What does that matter?
So there's no way to say, this is the way this type of person acts, because we're all just human beings living our lives.
Right. It's so weird.
Day to day. And, it's crazy. Don't act gay. What does that even mean?
I know. So we still have hurdles in Hollywood, which is so strange to think after all this time, especially if with all of the gay people working behind the scenes that you have no idea. It's so strange but I guess it's probably money. Like people are scared that not enough people will support it.
The problem is stereotypes, and like I said, we get the same thing in the Black community.
Yeah.
They want you to act more Black. And it's like, how can you act the color, right?
Right.
It's like, I'm just Black when I wake up.
I know.
That I am.
I woke up Black. I don't know what to do. Is this okay?
More or less? Should I do a downplay it today?
So funny.
And it's the same thing. And I feel like it's actually offensive to the actor to not give an actor character background information that informs them on what the character does.
Totally.
It's total stereotypical, like lazy. It's lazy writing. It's lazy casting.
Yes.
If you want me to know who the person is, you give me background on the person, how they were raised, what their situation was like growing up, what kind of education they received, and then that'll inform me about how Black to be in the character. Right?
You can't just blanket say and expect that to be enough. Like,
and so I think it's offensive when you say that. And that's why even saying, can you be more flamboyant? And this is how casting directors talk to you so that they don't get a lawsuit and say, you know, I want you to be more Black or be more gay.
Right.
They use these code words like you were discussing, Randy, and kind of, you know, can he be more ethnic? I don't know.
Right.
And I know what he's saying. You know, can you black it up for me?
Right. But like Moroccan or like what specifically?
African, you know.
Like what kind of ethnicity?
So, and it's just lazy. And and I think that, you know, we can all be better if we just learn how to express ourselves better. And explain what it is that we're trying to get out of people, you know?
Sure. And it's ironic in the entertainment industry that people wouldn't be able to express themselves better.
Right.
Like you would think, you know, but it's, I don't know, there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of hands in the pot. There's a lot to deal with. So, I mean, I don't want to say that I don't blame them, but at the same time,
well, it is it's a subjective business. So it really gets down to just, tall, short, fat, skinny. It's kind of a quick analysis of who you are. Right.
Yeah.
And, that's the problem for us actors, because actors look at it like, okay, well, who is this person? How do I get into their mind? And I really want this stuff. But then you walk in and they're like, oh, you're too fat. And it's like, whoa, Jesus.
Wait.
I was doing all this preparation and, you know, I've got it down. But
I know.
Or
so subjective.
Like with Aaron, he would always get sent out for elves. And he's like, you know, I'm more than an elf. And I'm too tall to be an elf anyway. So most people, you know, that frustrated him beyond.
Just give me a chance to get to swing it, to get a shot at it and do it my way. And then if you don't like me because of whatever reason, but just don't put me in that basket beforehand, because it really restricts people.
Yeah, and that's tough.
I kind of know what you guys are talking about. I always get sent out for roles of like a douche, and I'm like, how'd you guess?
I guess you're getting that here.
Maybe that's different.
What are you trying to say?
Could you be more douchey?
Yes, I can. Check this out. I just have to
Level
turn down 3. No, but Sirach, when we had this conversation a while back, you were saying how they say black it up a little bit, or, you know, make it more ethnic. And, you know, really what that boils down to is ignorance on their part to not be able to use words like you say, well, what do you mean? Like, tell me where the person grew up, or tell me the person's mindset.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So we're talking about stereotypes now and those things. So so if I tell you to be more gay, I'm telling you to be more of the gay stereotype, what has been sold to the public for all these years,
and that
acts a certain way, right? And it's the same thing for Black. It's like, okay, we've been selling the idea of Black people from this neighborhood, and they kind of do these jobs. This is the kind of stereotype we've got out there, and we want you to do that. And so that's where it becomes more about the stereotype of what Black or what gay is, as opposed to who the people really are, because there is such a variety of context within the gay community, within the Black community. All gays don't act this way. They don't all dress this way. They don't all talk this way. All Black people don't all do this thing. Or they don't all do this, you know, dress this way. They don't all talk this way. Right. And so there's so much variety within all of us. And that's where we get the problem of the stereotype and people telling you to go into one pigeonhole.
Yeah, and it does, and it comes down to lazy writing, because then you don't think outside of the stereotype, maybe because they don't know, they've not stepped out and met somebody who's different from themselves. But Aaron and I would love to watch British shows, because they're a lot better at that, of not pigeonholing, you know, Black people or, you know, gay people. They were just, this is my partner, and that's across the board. This is, you know, this is the investigator. And they did it they do it more honestly, I think, than we do here in the U.S.
Mm.
U.S., I think we are pigeonholed into the stereotypes, and I think it comes down to lazy writing and laziness on the production side.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
just have about a minute left, but that kind of brings me back, Melissa, to what Randy's point was a few minutes ago when you were saying, like, how much farther we still have to go, or is it how much further? I always get those two mixed up. Anyway, I think it's
distance.
further.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like with scientists or with mathematicians or whomever, when they say almost always the same thing. The more we know, the more we realize how much we don't know. And it's like this. It's like the more we realize what we need to improve on, and the more we improve on it, the more we realize how much more we still have to do and how much further we still have to go.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is that imagery is a powerful tool. And when people see images and people representing a demographic that's outside of the stereotypical box, then we start to shatter the perception of those stereotypes. And somebody like, for example, we just had Barack Obama as president, would help break down stereotypes of what people think as a black person, right? Say, okay, well, I guess there are black people like this, as opposed to what we've always thought, that one little zone was. And then now we've gotten, in this last cycle, we had Pete Buttigieg, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And completely broke down what...
Who's a big Star Trek fan, by the way?
I know,
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
How cool is that?
I want to get him at one of our events, just because.
That would be awesome.
Come on, man, Pete.
It's great that people like him can break down those stereotypes and say, oh, wow, so, okay. So it's not all just this flamboyant, whatever, boxes to check. There's educated, articulate. There's conservative.
He's a veteran,
there's
all
there's
these
all
things.
type of spectrums inside of a group.
Yeah, and he's so not scary. It's to breaking down that fear of something that you're not maybe so used to, and breaking down that fear, because once you break it down, Pete's not scary. Barack Obama's not scary.
Very lovable.
People are just people.
Yeah. Or people.
So
like
Rock,
you
I'll
and me.
I'll have to send you a clip. He actually hosted like the Tonight Show and did a kind of like a trivia battle with him and Patrick Stewart. And then the host of that battle was LeVar Burton. It was a really fun, nerdy time.
Oh, wow.
It was like
Love it.
Or something. Anyway, we have to go just about now. But Randy, if you met somebody in an elevator and they said, "Oh, what's Lambda Quadrant about, and how can I find it?" in like 20 seconds, what would you tell them?
We're at Lambda Quadrant everywhere, so we got the socials right. And what we are about is having a good time for a good cause for anyone who wants to come, basically. So we are LGBT focused just because that's how we started, but we just want everyone to come have a good time and help us raise money for people who are less fortunate than we are, whether it's $1 or $1 million, whatever we can give back to people. I feel like that's what Star Trek is about, right? In the future, they didn't have money; they just took care of each other, and everything was taken care of. And we're not there yet, so I feel like it's our responsibility to help us get there because that's where we want to be.
Right. So that means for everybody else at home, when he says that they're LGBTQ focused, but everybody's welcome, that's the A after the Q is the allies. So that means anybody's welcome. Anybody that supports their cause, come along, have some fun, maybe have some stereotypes shattered,
Or enforced. I mean, we do have drag queens, so I mean, like there are some stereotypes that are there for a reason. But come find out why. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Drag queens aren't scary either.
They're not.
I've had this conversation with a couple of people, and I'm just like, no, you got to break this.
Very large, but very nice.
Right.
They've all been very nice to me, the ones that I've met. So
right.
And shout out to Gays in Space as well for Dan Deavy. The guys doing their big thing over there too.
Yeah, it was just his birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Cool. So thank you very much, Randy Frank, for joining us. We
thank you so much.
Seeing you again.
Thank you guys. Oh my gosh, thank you for doing this.
Lambda Quadrant. I love the history behind the name. I like the idea and how you arrived at it.
Okay.
And I'm
oh,
going
we
to
have
do
a logo too. It's the Lambda, and then there's a delta attached to it at the bottom. I don't know if you can see my logo.
I see
So
it.
there's a Lambda at the top, and then the
I see
delta at
it.
the bottom. So
Awesome.
we're in
Nice.
there.
Nice.
We'll try and see you next time you guys have a function down in LA. I think you guys had one like last month. I know
We did at Gallifrey, with Chase Masterson. She was our recipient for the time. We made her like $1,500 or something like that. So yeah.
All right.
It was good.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We hope to see you again very soon. And Melissa, thank you again for always joining us and classing up the place for us.
Yeah.
Sirach always makes it look awesome anyway, too. So thank you.
Awesome.
And we'll see you all again real soon. Always remember the 7th rule.